Good day to all of you. We've been having varied success with regards to our online classes, so I thought I would upload a quick explanation of text functions, which you're going to be introduced to in the next while, rather than conducting an online class, so that you can access this at your leisure. And then if you need any additional support, you can also contact me. So text functions, obviously the first thing that you're going to realize, and this is a recap of what you did in grade 10, is that you'll notice that all of these cells, content is left aligned, which hints at the fact that they are actually identified as text, and that you can then perform a text function based on them. So far in Excel you guys have learned how to run various functions on numbers and formulas based on numbers, but text can also be manipulated within Excel utilizing these various text functions. The first one that we're going to look at in the plethora of text functions that we're going to introduce you to today is the concatenate function, which we utilize to join text strings in various cells. And you can see how it could be useful if you've got somebody's name and surname and you're wanting to join the two together. The concatenate function works as follows. It's once again the name of the function, followed by an open bracket. You can then click on the text string, and then you put a comma between each additional text string you'd like to add. Now I could go ahead and select the surname, but you're going to see why I'm going to have to actually edit this function in the end, because when I chuck it out there's no space between the two. So how do we put that space in? I'm going to select it again and go back up to my formula bar, take you up to the top here, and instead of just the two text strings, I'm going to put in a quotation mark space quotation mark. And that's basically putting in a third, or it's actually the second text string. It's putting in that second text string, which is basically saying, hey, put a space between that, because remember, between those two quotation marks there's nothing. It's a space bar, which will then allow for the space to be put between it. Once I return on that function, you can see that now it's turning that out the way I'd like it, with the name and surname and a space between. I can now autofill that down, and it does exactly the same thing to the last two names in the list. Right, the next useful function that we utilize when putting together a text function is the len, which basically tells me how long a particular text string is. Like, for example, I want to know how long that name, for example, is. So len function is quite simple, but very useful. You're going to see how we utilize it in activities that come ahead. So I can count that and see Angelique is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters, and it's going to tell me exactly that. You can see that it does it a lot faster than I'd be able to just count it. And this is useful, especially if you're wanting to subtract a certain length of a text string from another length of a text string, which we'll do in the activities later on in this chapter. So that's len. We'll take the length of that. Let me show you what it looks like on a surname. Same principle. You can see the length of B7 there. And I don't want to move that function. I just want to autofill it down. And then you can see it does exactly the same thing for their surnames, ace being 3 characters only. Right, I'm wanting to quickly take these texts that are input into my spreadsheet, and I want to make them uppercase. This is a very useful function. It's just upper, open brackets, select the text string that you'd like, hit the return key, and it automatically makes those uppercase for you. Same thing for the lowercase one, much like a max and min function. There's really not much to them. It was in title case. You're going to notice that Angelique's first letter now is not capitalized, it's lowercase, and when I autofill that down, it does the same to the rest. I want to quickly extract what grade these various learners are in, but you can see it's told me what class they're in, and obviously that class, the first two digits in that hint at what grade they're in, but I'm not wanting the A. I just want to have the grade 10, so I know that Angelique is in grade 10 and Zander is in grade 10. So this is a left function, and what it does, it will extract from that text string over there, Angelique, it will take how many characters you ask for. So that is 1, 2 characters that I want in order to get the grade. So when I hit the return key, did I select the correct text string? No, I took A22. Right, so let's change that through to C22. And there you can see from C22 I am subtracting the first 2 characters from the left hand side. And it will then return the grade for you, and it does exactly the same for Zander and Mr. Molekwa as well. A lot of companies or businesses will have telephone numbers, but the last couple of digits in their telephone number will be the extension, so you don't have to dial the dialing code and the region code. All that you need to do is dial the extension. So if I want to quickly extract just the extensions from these telephone numbers, and I only want the last 4 digits, I can, the same way I used the left function, which took the 2 digits from the left, I can do the same thing and take as many digits as I want from the right. And remember, these numbers in here are actually formatted as text, and the way that I picked up on that was they automatically formatted to the left hand side. So I'm going to put in a right function here, select the text string that I want, and this time I'm taking 4 characters. And there I can see now I've got the 3412 from that telephone number, and autofill those down, and it does exactly the same thing to that text string and that one as well. Right here I've got somebody Adams, and they have a ID number. Now you guys know that the first 6 digits of your ID number hint at the day you were born, the month you were born in, and the year you were born in. So this person would have been born in the year 2000 in the 5th month on the 20th. I wanting to extract quite quickly just the month that they were born in. Now in this situation a left function and a right function won't work, so here I'm going to utilize a mid function, which will then take from the middle of that text string. So I say mid, select the text string, where am I starting? 1, 2, from the 3rd digit, comma 3, and how many characters am I taking? I'm taking 1, 2 characters. And there you can say it's taken the 5th out, and then obviously I can convert that into months later on, which I'm not going to do right now. Find function is useful, especially if you're looking to find a particular thing in a long list of text strings. If I've got like a whole list of somebody's name and surname, and they're all separated by the same thing, a comma, and I want to find out where that comma is in the text string so that I can extract a certain part of that text string, the find becomes very, very useful. So the find function will basically tell me where in the text string that comma is. So it starts with the name of the function again, find, open brackets. Then you need to say what you're looking for. I'm looking for the comma. Comma in what text? That one. And if I then close the bracket and return, it will say, well, it starts 6 places in. And if you look, Lewis is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the comma is the 6th one. Now in Excel, the date functions, if I want to change these into various values, Excel starts counting from the 1st of January 1900. So this date here will come as a 1 value, and then it started counting up from that date, the 1st of Jan 1900, all the way to where we're now sitting further on than the 23rd of March, but we're just using the 23rd of March as an example. So if I use the value function here, and I say, please tell me the value of that date over there, and you can see it is a date because it's right aligned, it will say it's 1. Because remember I told you Excel started counting from that day. It regards that as day 1, just because it needed to start somewhere. Then anything on from that, it will then count up to where we're now sitting 43,913 days on from that date there. Right, and that's in a nutshell, very quickly, the text functions, and we're going to see that we're going to use them in a little bit more depth in the next couple of activities, which I'm going to ask you to have a go at. And then once you've finished with that, we can then have a review session based on those activities.